All right, we're gonna get right into this one today, and we're gonna make a Rapala imitation 2-inch minnow. Let's go. The outline profile pretty much said and done. Going to do a couple chamfering on the edges on the top to give it that minnow shape, but these baits aren't too terribly difficult to make. You can pretty much do this by hand if you really wanted to, but obviously power tools make it a little bit quicker. But yeah, not too super difficult. I'm not going to go do a line wire through harness or anything. I'm just going to do screw eyes. But yeah, we're moving along pretty good. Next step is we're just going to have to actually create the shape. So let's go do that. That's the midline of where the gravity of this bait falls. So if you were to hold it right here and gently let it go, it's going to fall down, but you can tell where that's the center point or the midpoint of that bait, where if you hold it up front, you see how it's going to fall. So I always try to figure that out per the beginning of the bait making and molding process, so that way I know exactly kind of where I'm going to need hook hangers, line ties, lips, and all that jazz. So all right, let's get back to the belt sander. Good start here so far, but you can kind of see that profile. We will shave down gently each one of these corners and then get to hand sanitizing. Too much of this COVID stuff. Hand sanding all of our finishing profile shape. All right, that profile is looking pretty minnowy. Let's get to sanding. I'm gonna do a little bit more hand sanding just to kind of refine some of those edges. This is 120 grit, small little ribbon that I just cut from a normal 3M piece. I usually cut it in like a thin size, inch long size, just depending on the size of the bait that I'm working with. But this one works really, really well. This is like 1/2 inch that I was using with the hand sanding. And then I'll fine tune it with 220. That's about as low as I'll go before I really try to do any extra work. So keep on sanding. The hook hangers, where I'm going to put the weight to, which will be right there. That's where the weight will go for this particular bait. First hook hanger will be right in the middle of the bait. We'll just have a rear hook hanger coming out there, and the line tie right off the nose. So Going to use 3/64 inch bit to drill these holes. Putting in the weight, we're going to use a 1/4 inch Forstner bit. That way we can get a decent amount of weight and not destroy the integrity of this little one. That should work. That should allow it to suspend pretty naturally once we get it moving through the water like so. These are small lead pellets. To provide the weight. Baking soda and super glue. Whenever you use this stuff, this thin super glue, always wipe it off. You're probably going to get it on your fingers and whatnot, but wipe it off your container and your lid and use the needle cap that they give you. These things will increase your longevity because otherwise this becomes a hot mess. That's good. We just will clean that up, some more sandpaper, and we'll get to putting on hook hangers, line ties, and then we're gonna have to seal this with some polyurethane. We're going to use Bob Smith quick 5-minute epoxy to glue in the hardware. So I just cut out a small little lip from some Lexan polycarbonate. That's some pretty thin stuff too. I got a pretty small batch of that, which I'm pretty excited for when I make these smaller lures. We're going to let it dry before we coat the wood in Minwax polyurethane.
Give that 35-40 minutes and then we'll be back and we'll get the paint in here shortly, very shortly. Fishing.
All right. So it is now completely sealed and looks pretty good thus far. I'm liking the shape, just like the old Rapala minnows. So I'm probably going to do a small foiling on this and simply just kind of coat it, and then I'm going to probably go through with a 30-minute epoxy so we can get a little bit of a smoother paint finish on that. The way that I normally will go about this is just some aluminum foil tape. You can pretty much get it any Home Depot hardware store that's around you. Window screening, it's probably better if you have something that's a little harder than this. And then I just take a dowel that I cut and this little metal rod, pop that in there, put this over it and put a lot of pressure down. And you're gonna get some sort of scaling pattern. It's not perfect, it's not like actual squares, but I'm just looking personally, I'm looking for texture. Here's another one that I've done to get a small ripple effect. You can see that. So I'm just gonna cut 2 of those out, and easiest way to do that is kind of fold this in half. That way I know exactly where I'm gonna be. I'm gonna draw a line around it, and then we'll just cut it out. is on. I'm gonna clean up some of the front pieces, as you can kind of see there as I zoom in on it and get it nice and clear. A little dirt to clean, but again, all we're looking for is reflectivity of the light, a little pattern. We're gonna cover some of it all up anyways, so good start. Clean it up, 30-minute epoxy clear coat, get to painting. We're gonna let that finish its first coat of that clear coat epoxy, that Bob Smith 30-minute. It's gonna take a little bit longer than 30 minutes. Where Nebraska, it's pretty humid, so curing time's a little slower than what we see. But I do want to stop and say thanks if you're checking this video out. I appreciate it. Smash that like button if you're enjoying it. If you think I can do something better with my lure making, or if you've found something useful, drop a comment below. Hit that subscribe button if you're so inclined to do so too, because that helps out the channel. But currently I got this rainbow trout crankbait I just finished up. Thinking about making a little bit more of a tutorial on that one too. But again, thanks again if you watch this. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We're gonna get to painting this as soon as it's done, and we'll see you right then. You know, we're gonna switch it up, I think, and we're gonna make a little bit more of an orange fire shad, we'll call it, with the little fire tiger stripes. But we're gonna go orange on the top just to keep that silver, but we'll keep that process moving. I'm gonna make an overpass of detailed burnt umber, and so we're just gonna darken the top portion of this up a bit. Don't want to do too much. It's a true tiger look. I thought about actually just putting like 3mm eyes on this, but I think I'm going to just paint them with this cotton swab. We're going to start with a base of white and then hit a black pupil just to kind of keep it pretty standard. All right, heat set, clear coat, and we're gonna take this thing fishing. All right, nothing too fancy here. Just Bob Smith 30-minute epoxy one more time. So last coat, and then we get to finally take this thing fishing. So overall, didn't turn out too bad. The only problem that I have is probably too many stripes. As you can kind of see, it looks a little too tigery, but I don't think the fish will mind. So we are gonna just finish coating this up, put it on the rotisserie back here, and once it's done, we'll see what it does and action-wise at the lake, and throw it on the ultralight and see if we can catch a fish or two. So we'll see you at the lake. All right, so far we are striking out. I've had one bite on it, but it works perfect. You can use it as a jerk bait, just like Rapala minnows. You can have top water float, jerk it, good shimmy, slow suspend back up to the surface. But I'm gonna flip you around and we're gonna try one last spot around here. The sunset's going down, so it's gonna be kind of a cool little shot, but have one nibble, a take, and we're gonna see if we can get something on this side. I feel better about this side of the bank where we're fishing, but we're gonna give it a shot. Fish on, baby. Not big. There it is. We christened it with a nice little largemouth. Flip it around so we can see. We'll get you better light. There we go. Chomped it too. Woo. Careful, trebles. There it is. That was cool. That was a cool bite. Largie on the homemade Rapala Minnow Shad Wrap, whatever you call it. Original. There it is. That is gonna do it, but this thing works out really, really well. I'm pretty excited about it. The fishing was just pretty tough tonight, so pretty nice, hot, humid day. Start of a hot heat stretch here in Nebraska. We're gonna have a couple 100-degree days here in the week, so not surprising that everything's a little off. But thanks if you stuck with this. Stay tuned for a next episode of this, and we're gonna see what another bait I can come up with. But I would really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to have a goal for myself to have 1,000 subscribers by December, so if it happens, it happens. If not, it'd be sweet. But that's up to you guys to decide. So thanks again for watching. I do appreciate it. We will catch you on the next one.